Well, that was, to say the least, very disappointing. West Ham United 1, Charlton 2 at London Stadium. I predicted 4-1 to the home team. Couldn't have been more wrong if I tried. Honestly, I don't really know where to start with this, to be honest with you. I'm hoping you guys might be able to make sense of it for me. I mean, I'm here, I'm away, as I said, I'm on holiday with my wife, taking a little break away from home. I didn't make it to the game, clearly, and I'm actually quite glad I didn't. I'm actually quite glad I didn't. But despite that fact, I did actually watch it on the West Ham TV live stream, paid a tenner for the privilege. Obviously, I'm in Belgium, so anyway, at least that's what the VPN said. But just absolutely ridiculous from start to finish. We looked slow out of the blocks. Now, bear in mind, we conceded the first goal on 6 minutes. We looked second best up to that point against a Charlton team who, last season in their first season back in the champ, finished 19th. In every game that they conceded a goal, went behind, they didn't manage to win. They only won 4 games away from home in the whole season. And they've come to the London Stadium and they've taken 3 points off of. And you know what? They were good value for it. They were absolutely good value for it. 6 minutes, throw into Charlton. Poor defending. I thought we were weak. I thought we were really second best. It was obvious that we were being out-battled and out-fought from the first whistle by Charlton Athletic. Fair play to them. They brought 3,000 fans and they made themselves heard amongst the cavernous bowl that is the London Stadium. Lloyd Jones, I spoke about him. He's their player of the year, and he was wearing the armband as well. Gets an overhead kick. Centre back in the penalty box, getting an overhead kick, and ℕ𝕦𝕟𝕣𝕝𝕥 getting beat at his near post. I don't really know whether to laugh or cry. I'll be perfectly honest. 1-0 down, and I was hoping, sort of, come on, it's 6 minutes. We got another 84 to go. Surely that's gonna snap us into life. No. We meandered, we pondered, we wandered around. We looked like total 11 strangers on the pitch. 11 strangers with no intensity, no fire, no fight. We just looked completely a shambles. I was watching intermittently clips of Nuno, and he just looked like he didn't really know what was going on. He had his hands in his pockets, he was puffing his cheeks out, and he just looked like he had no answers to the problems. He had no solutions to the problems that were unfolding in front of his very eyes. And this is a guy that's a manager of some repute. Well, I'll be honest with you. As I say, when it was announced that Nuno was staying, that Daniel said to him a few days after our relegation that he was staying, I was like, okay, whatever. I wasn't particularly bothered one way or the other, but I thought, okay, I can understand it. It's a little bit of stability, this, that, and the other. Maybe there's something to be said for that. I know it's only 2 games in, but the game last week against Burnley, the game this week against Charlton, I don't see that we've got any grit and determination. One of the things that my brother actually sort of made a point, and do you know what? I actually think he's right. We've got no championship experience in the engine room, the midfield section. The moving on of Freddie Potts now looks actually even more of a strange decision, because we had a midfield of Kante, of Engels, and, well, it was midfield 2 of Kante and Engels, truth be told. There's no championship experience there. Freddie Potts, okay, you could turn around and make the argument that was he cut out for the Premier League? There's probably not, if we're being completely honest. But in terms of the Championship, he'd already excelled at that level for Portsmouth on loan. So I think that moving him on now looks a little bit more of a peculiar decision. But be that as it may, we get to half-time, 1-0 down. And to be honest with you, Charlton, I thought, were pretty decent value for it. I will say, I thought Arthur Okonkwo in their goal did his job, But a lot of the saves he had to make, and I've got the stats that he made 8 saves apparently. A lot of the saves, I don't really think they were proper saves in and of themselves. They weren't sort of like 8 times that he was diving full length, tipping the ball round the bar, whatever, fair enough. There was one good save that he made in the second half. I remember that. I think that was from a shot from ℂ𝕦𝕒𝕣𝕝𝕦, if I remember rightly, who came on as a half-time sub for Kante. Kante just ambled around. He looked lost out there. He looked like a boy playing men. He wasn't the only one, though. I mean, mate, I could sit here and I could criticise and pick holes in pretty much all of the players. All of them, to a degree, have a degree of culpability. I'm going to come on to, in due course, one that I think is going to get a bit of stick from me, and he's in the title, so you know what's coming. But second half, you sort of think, okay, no, get the lads in the changing rooms, give them a bit of a rocket up their backside, send them out there and get an early equal. Like, no, we're just going to amble around and go sideways, backwards, usual sort of meandering, sort of pondering style of football that we've played for the last year under this guy. And Mavropanos, everybody has sort of, look, we voted him our player of the year last year. Great, fine. But if we're being dead honest about it, he is a bang average centre-back. I think he was very, very fortunate to get Axel Disasi alongside him that managed to bring the very best out of him. He's now got Kilman alongside him, who's not Axel Disasi. And I think we're now seeing what Mavropanos is actually capable of. Or not, as the case may be. That second goal, that is a player with no backbone, with no self-awareness. He's not good enough. He's not as good as we think he is. He's not as good. We think that because he had a 4-month spell when he was alongside a decent defender that actually dragged the better performances out of him because it demanded it of him, and we gave him the Player of the Year award, which I think was debatable in the extreme. Now I think we're seeing what Dinos Mavropanos actually is. A bang average centre-back, even at a championship level. He's got his flaws. Everybody knows he's got a rick in him. 1 rick a match. 2-0 down. And I'd said in the preview that one of the things that Charlton were going to have at their disposal was pace. And we needed to be switched on from whistle to whistle. And we weren't. Even I knew what was coming if we allowed it to happen, and we did. And we were 2-0 down. We sort of huffed and puffed, and we sort of upped the tempo a little bit. Obviously, Tati, I mean, tried to win a penalty by diving in the box. That was embarrassing. Peru manages to get a goal, but the weird thing, I don't know if you guys clocked it, especially in the first half. Joel Peru, who's brought in as a striker, he's going to score goals and all the rest of it. He was deep. He was quite deep. He was playing almost as a central midfielder. I couldn't work it out. I don't know whether that was the tactical on Nuno's part. I don't know if that was an instruction from him to sort of like let Tati be the striker and you sort of like come a little bit deeper and trying to link up the play. I don't think it worked. And I actually think also when they were in the same sort of vicinity, they also tended to get in each other's way a little bit. That's how it seemed to me. Look, it's early days for that partnership, but mind you, that partnership might not get off the ground for reasons that I'm about to come into, because obviously later in the game, we get a penalty. It was a shot. It was a shot. It was a shot from Lewis Orford for the pen. Struck, I think it was Lewis Orford. Anyway, it struck the arm of Connor Coventry. The referee blows a whistle, penalty. Look, it's the 90th minute of the game. You've got to score this penalty. Now, this is the bit where people, and I love Jared Bowen, but this is the bit where I can't defend him because you've got the armband, you're the captain, you're where the buck stops on the field of play. You're the leader. Show some leadership, show some fighting, determination, and all of those things, some grit and intensity. He's taken penalties. As far as I'm aware, he is our designated penalty taker. So it's the 90th minute. We're rewarded a penalty. We're 2-1 down at home. I was expecting for all the world, as I'm sure everybody did that was watching it in the stadium, that was watching it on TV or whatever, everybody was expecting the camera to pan down, penalty spot, there's Jarrod Bowen with the ball. And you could probably be assured we're going to salvage a point. Okay, probably wouldn't be enough in a lot of ways, but you know what? From 2-0 down to get a point, it's all about context. It's a bit like the Burnley game, 2-0 up, and they managed to get a point. It feels like a win for them and a defeat for us. Okay, spin it round a week later, fine. Tatty's taking the penalty, and Bowen was on the pitch. I mean, you know, Bowen hadn't been subbed off, and he does that. He does this poxy run up, which all these penalty takers do, and it looks ridiculous. They do this stuttering little run up like a ballerina, and then it hits the base of Okonkwo's left hand post. Okonkwo didn't have to move. He didn't need to do a thing. He just sort of like watched it strike the woodwork, and away it went. Charlton players, I think I saw Lloyd Jones just basically laughing at Tatty. But although it was a crap penalty, although I'm going to sort of point the finger at Tatty and say, mate, you've got to put that away, I've got even more questions to ask of Jarrod Bowen. Why are you allowing this? You're the captain. You should be. That should have been like Di Canio against Lampard in that 5-4 game against Bradford all those years ago, where they're sort of having a little bit of a set to, and he pulled rank. He said, I'm the captain, you clear off. That's exactly what Bowen should have done. I didn't see any argument. I didn't see sort of like Bowen going up to Tatty and going, here, mate, what do you think you're doing? I'm the captain. I'm the penalty taker. You clear off over there. I'm taking this. And this is why fans look at Bowen and say, do you know what? This guy hasn't got a pair. He's not really got the sort of like the minerals that you need to be a captain. And do you know what? As far as today's evidence is concerned, and I love Jarrod Bowen, I'm a fully paid up member of his fan club, but let's have it right. That people have got a point. When they see things like this, people have got a point. They turn around and say, he's got no bollocks, and I don't think he has. I don't think he has. I think any penalty taker, any captain worth their salt in that situation pulls rank, and he didn't. He's got no leadership. I don't really know what to say. I really don't know what to say. Unacceptable, and we have got 1 point out of a possible 6. There's still a lot of road to go. There's still a lot of... I'm not sort of going to say, oh, my God, we've got to get relegated to League One. I'm not there. And I'm not actually at the minute advocating putting Nuno into the ranks of the unemployed. But I tell you what, something ain't right. And David Sullivan in the stands, I saw that. David Sullivan in the stand with his bird with the plastic tits. Yeah, she was there as well. And within a sort of like a couple of metres of where they were sat, there was Nils Coppen and Karim Varane. I saw the lot of them. Something's amiss. This club is just really baffling me at the minute with all the rumours of this, that and the other going on. And as I say, a lot of it is, I don't know whether I believe it. I don't know whether I don't want to believe it. And that's kind of what's sort of fooling me. I don't know what's going on. I'm not an ITK, never professed to be. I'm just a fan. I'm just an average fan that watches, reads the papers, goes online, reads the articles, watches YouTube, and I try and sort of work out things from that and read between the lines. Something's clearly amiss here. Something's clearly amiss. The players look like, half of them don't look like they want to be there. As I say, Dinos looks like he's checked out. He's not good enough. We've got Tatty. There's rumours that he wants to go. Do you know what, mate? If you're going to put in those sorts of performances where it's all about you and you're not going to be a team player, do you know what? Let's get the money in for him and ship him off out. Same with Diouf. I've got no problem. If you don't want to be here, mate, let's get the money in and ship him off. There is no player that is bigger than this club. None. Okay? I don't care. this club will always be bigger than any player that walks through these doors, right? So if any of you players come here and think that you're doing us a favour, do yourself a favour, check yourself out, we'll get the money for you and we'll get you out the door, right? That's that. Absolutely fuming. Absolutely fuming. So I can see some comments are going in, guys. I'm just going to have a quick flick through. Ryan feels sick to his stomach. Yeah, you and me both, mate. Luke, ℂ𝕦𝕟𝕣𝕝𝕥, Pato and consortium to take over Northampton Town. Not happy, fuming. Oh, sorry about that, Luke. Need a new coach with different ideas. Kieran McKenna. Do you know what? Colin? I wouldn't be against that idea. That is a manager who tries to play good football. He's got a pedigree, a recent pedigree. People go on about Nuno's got the pedigree of getting promoted, and he has. You can't take that away from him. But that was what, 8-10 years ago? McKenna's obviously been promoted twice now in the space of the last 3 seasons. So I'd actually say that maybe that's got a little bit of legs to it. Do you think Sullivan should sell or hold out? Well, mate, I'd like him to just clear off. I wouldn't have sold Potts. I've touched on that earlier, Damien. My brother made the point that we've got no midfielders with any championship experience, and Potts does. So left back, left winger, yeah, I think you could be right. 4-4-2 doesn't work. Well, certainly didn't seem to today. Not too sure. Was it 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1? I'm not quite sure. Hull did beat Man United. They did. How you doing, Mandy? Did we expect any difference? Have we seen anything to say we're going to smash teams? No. I get it, but we should. We should be. When you look at the names on the team sheet, but the thing that concerns me, and I kind of alluded to this in the preview, because I was sort of like advocating my lineup and sort of saying about, well, you know, maybe we could have Peru on the bench and Tatty up front, or Tatty up, you know, or vice versa. So at least we had an attacking bench option. Look at that bench we had today. Where was the attacking options? There really wasn't any, nothing of note, I don't think. Although I will say, in fairness, and I know I said that optically the re-signing of Macassar didn't look great, I will say I thought he looked decent. I will say that when he came on. Consistency in organisation does matter, mate. Nuno has to go, says Darren. Bowen bottled it, should have taken the penalty. 100%. 100%. Portsmouth, Burnley and now Charlton look better than us. Yeah, I got nothing. I can't really argue the toss there. Nuno's net spend is minus 150 million. He's still got a squad that any other championship manager pretty much would die for, Damien. I'm not having that. And it's clear that Nuno cannot integrate players fast enough, which means we could be looking at the bottom half for a time until he finds a slot for them, maybe. Centre backs are about partnerships. Yeah, I get that, and I'm not sure that this partnership is working. I don't think they complement each other. I don't think they get the best out of each other. Why is he playing Inspector in the Pablo role? Why is he playing Inspector in the Pablo role and Tatty up front? Not sure I follow. Thoughts on Tatty taking the pen, not Bowen? Disgusted that it was allowed to happen, that Bowen didn't interject and pull rank. I just think, why? Bowen failed in his job as a cap. 100%, exactly where I'm at with this. This fan base thought Skiles was better than Diouf. Skiles didn't have a good game. I'm not going to shy away from it. I did make the point that if mentally he was okay after that Burnley situation, play him. But I did say that if mentally he weren't right, then you play Veltman at right back and you shift Kyle Walker-Peters to left back. He's played there many times when he was at Southampton. He didn't look right. He looked very, very shaky. Unsavable, crazy fans. I mean, they had 3,000 behind the goal. They sort of like, they've gone away happy. Fair play to them. Not to blame for the result. Skiles has had enough games to show he isn't good enough. Do you know what? I'm struggling to defend him on today's performance. Nuno's took us as far as he can when Tatty asked him to change it up under 20 minutes, and Nuno's still making him play the same way to the end of the first half. Sign a left back and left wing is what Damien would do. We're not getting into the playoffs, let alone win the championship. Probably not on the basis of today's performance. If Tati is the designated penalty taker, then he takes it. But Jared should have gone over and stood close to him before he took it. But he's not the designated penalty taker. Well, when was the last penalty that we had? Tati and Bowen would have both been on the pitch, and Bowen took it. I'm pretty convinced that's right. I don't remember Tati being our designated penalty taker. For me, Bowen has to pull rank there. And as I say, could you honestly think that Mark Noble would have allowed that to happen? Just wouldn't have occurred. He'd have just gone, no, I'm taking it. Now look, I know that the last time he took a penalty in the last minute, De Gea saved it, but whatever. He'd have still had the courage of his convictions to say, oh, this is my responsibility, and he's a captain, so he should have done it. If Nuno won't change formation, I would sack him. It's not about the formation, mate. It's about the results. Bowen has never been captain material. That is a criticism that you can level at him, and it's difficult to defend it. Did he stand next to it, or was it clearly allocated to Tati? Like I say, as far as I'm concerned, Bowen's the penalty taker. It's just a comedy act from Sully the pedo to share fiasco to keep on the manager that get relegated us. Well, we have to say that he's not. Yeah, let's leave that there. But all in all, Nuno showed how clueless he is. I would have built round Tati and Bowen, left wing and mobile, carrot man with my first spend. Said it all summer. Look, there's a lot of comments that are here. I don't want to sort of dwell on this too much. If I'm being honest, I'm really quite annoyed. Really quite annoyed to say the least. But so I'm not going to drag this out, guys. But this is not a great start to life in the Championship. A captain that's got no sort of like leadership from what I can see. I love Bowen, but I've had my concerns about him last season and this. Something needs to change. Something isn't right at the club. It's just, there's this smell of mediocrity about us at the minute, and it needs to change. It absolutely needs to change. We've got too many people that think they're doing us a favour by being here. Too many people that think that they're too good for the Championship, and then when they've got to get out in front of 62,500 fans, they just sort of like, they don't give everything that they've got. They're just ambling around, no intensity, no fight, no determination. And we've got a manager that just, he's got nothing about him from what I can see. I wonder whether he's already checked out. Absolutely disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Anyway, guys, I'm going to disappear. If you could drop a like and a hype before you disappear, I would appreciate it. And if you're not watching this live, but you're watching it after the fact, get a comment in the section below. Share this onto your social media platforms. Scan the QR code top left to subscribe to the channel. You know I appreciate that. And until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Come on, you Irons.